Welcome to the Whiskey and Whitetails podcast, a show for those that hunt with a passion and drink with a purpose. As always, I'm your host, Gus.
I'm Matt.
And thank you to our Patreon for supporting us and doing all the awesome things they do. Thank you to the Waypoint Network for having us, and thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. If this is your first time here, welcome. If not, welcome back. We've got a good one for you today, guys. We have J.Hodge Productions, Mr. Justin Hodge himself. Matt, tell us a little bit about him.
Absolutely, man. He's a good podcast. He's very humble dude. So he doesn't make it seem like he's as huge as he is, but he's got over 7 national covers for Saltwater Sportsman magazine. He's been a finalist in the Sitka Diverge Photo Contest, grand prize winner of the Gunner Kennels. With he's been working on TV production, SeaHunter TV, Outdoor Channel, Beat Mayhem. I mean, Discovery Channel shows. He's everywhere. He's a great filmographer, great photographer, and he's an all around really good dude.
He really tells a great story through a lens, and I was super fascinated by the technology and the production sort of behind the scenes knowledge with how they shoot stuff for CBS Sports like live while they're 150 miles off coast. That was really cool. So good stuff. It's a lot of fun to listen to, and I learned a lot. Yeah,
y'all are gonna like this one. And I'm glad he was able to come down. He lives I don't know, how far is Bluffton? 2 hours?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like 2 hours away, but he was able to come down to Charleston or come up to Charleston, and I was glad he hit me up. So that was a good podcast. And the people that made that possible, we start with Mint Mobile. Got another surprise, another ChatGPT ad read that I haven't read, and I did it last night at like 3 a.m. So
sweet.
See if you can guess what style this is.
You were up at 3. I woke up at 3. Nice.
Did you? Yeah, I was up at 3. Hark, good listeners, gather round, for today's podcast is brought to you by a company most noble, Mint Mobile, the veritable jewel of modern communication. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? Is it not the sun, but Mint Mobile's radiant offer? Imagine, fair patrons, a wireless carrier that delivers premium service at prices most modest. To mint or not to mint? That is the question. With plans starting as just a pittance, thou shalt enjoy unlimited talk and text and data on the nation's fastest, most reliable network. But, dear audience, the true magic lies in the unique approach. Mint Mobile plans come in durations of 3, 6, or 12 moons, allowing thee to choose the term that suits thy needs. No binding contracts, no hidden fees, just pure wireless freedom. And let us not forget their commitment to customer satisfaction, for Mint Mobile boosts a great customer service reputation worthy of the highest praise. So, gentle folk, if thou art tired of paying extraordinary fees to other carriers and yearn for a wireless experience, visit mintmobile.com/whiskey to be part of this noble revolution. This podcast, Whiskey and Whitetails, doth raise its goblet to Mint Mobile, the true champion of affordable and reliable wireless services. Forsooth, dear audience, make the wise choice and switch to Mint Mobile today. Verily, thou shalt never look back.
Damn, that's solid. Your ChatGPT is funny.
Has a closing statement. Mint Mobile, wherefore affordable Mint wireless service meets the modern age. Huzzah!
Huzzah! That's good.
It's fantastic. I like the Mint Mobile reads.
Yeah,
or the ChatGPT reads.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. We're also brought to you by Vantage Point Archery, where we still don't have it yet, but we will soon be a full-blown retailer with Vantage Point Archery products on our website.
Yep.
It's great stuff. We've talked about them before, the sizes that we shoot, but I think what's most important that you know is this made in America. Right here in America. By Americans.
That's right, Americans. Great quality products made here in America. Great group of folks over there at that shop and running that company. So if you like to carry quality gear into the field, things that you can rely on when you have that target buck or those does that are going to put meat in the freezer for your family, and you want something you can rely on to get it done, Vantage Point Archery at Broadheads are the way to go.
Absolutely. So you can check them out at vparchery.com. Pick you up a set, give them a shot. You'll love them, guaranteed. And you can resharpen them and pass them down for generations and generations. All right.
All right. Enjoy the podcast, guys.
Yep. Have fun. All right, ladies and gentlemen, from Bluffton, South Carolina, world traveler, publisher in many, many magazines, photographer, videographer, all around good dude, my friend Justin Hodge.
How we doing, brother?
Doing good, man. Fresh crack of a Waterloo sparkling water.
Got to rehydrate before you dehydrate, man.
That's it. How have you been, man?
I've been great. I've been busy. I feel like I just finally slowed down a little bit, and but yeah, I've been doing really well.
Where all of you? You've been gone for like months now, right?
It's been a minute. Yeah, the SFC stuff that I did, Sportfishing Championship series that was on CBS, broadcasted on CBS. Blue Marlin fishing on CBS Sports really took up from May to the end of August for me. So I've been, 12 destinations. A busy slate from May to the end of August. So I felt like, September was here and gone, and now we're already in October, which is crazy because, I didn't do a ton through September. I did a couple things, but, it's already over. So we're I don't know, looking forward, and good hunting seasons are coming up. Looking forward to some things down the pipeline, but yeah, October's a great time of year, so I'm excited, especially for deer hunting. I already filled a tag already, so I feel like my deer hunting has come to a little bit of a halt while I let other people in my family take a seat for a little bit.
Both of us to a tag.
Yeah.
That never happens for me, so it was good. But yeah, things are going great. Here in Chuck this past weekend to do a shoot for Hook and Gaff, a company that I work for, run their social media, and I've been longstanding with Michael Sims, the owner of Hook and Gaff. So I was down this weekend, the past 2 days, photographing some new watches for him. He's got coming down the pipeline. So still, even though I'm having fun, I'm enjoying my free time right now, but I'm still trying to chase a little bit. So
for sure,
that's good.
We met him a couple of years, didn't we?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
So I think he gave me a watch.
Yeah, you got to watch from him, and then
the King
Tide.
Yeah.
So he's got 3 ones out. I don't want to spill the beans for him, but he's got some new updates to his last King Tide. So he's got some new watches coming out. So they are due to drop at the end of December. So he's got some cool stuff coming out.
Mine's buried somewhere beneath the Morse Island Lighthouse.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. 2 boats were coming together. We were out taking people fishing, and 2 boats are coming together, and like an idiot, I'm trying to keep the boats from hitting.
Right.
And if that hadn't been wearing that watch, it probably would have broke my wrist.
Really?
But it hit the watch and just blew it off.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a good story. You should probably hit Michael up.
I did.
Probably appreciate it. Did you?
I was hoping he'd give me another one. He never responded.
Tell him you know a guy. So.
he was like, I think this dude's fishing for a free watch. And so he never responded to me.
We can probably figure something out for you.
I like him. I wouldn't mind getting another one.
He's a great dude. One of my favorite people. So it's I'm very blessed. He was one of my original guys, when I first started doing what I do. He was just getting started with Hook and Gaff, and him and Gash, his partner. And I was just kind of coming up with doing what I was doing. And just so happened that he stopped in Barron's, the shop I used to manage, hunting and fishing store in Columbia. And I was just like, hey, man, just this kid with, his finger stuck up his nose. I'm like, I like to take pictures with you, So we started doing some things together, and he's been with me ever since. I mean, he's the longest standing guy I know in the things that I do. So he's a great family man, great person, and so is Cash, his partner. The only thing wrong with Michael Sims is the fact that he's a Clemson Tiger. So, but yeah, okay. we forgive him for that. So,
yeah. Used to work that shop. It was like in a brick building, like a hole in a wall brick building, wasn't it?
Yeah, Barron's Outfitters. It's been around since 1947.
Yeah,
super cool shop. It's a mom and pop shop, but you go in there and you can find pretty much everything you need for the most part. They got out of the archery business, but I managed that store for 12 years. I was in college, worked there through college, and then as soon as I graduated, the only thing that I knew was Barron's Outfitters. So I signed on to do a management role there, and it's that really created a great atmosphere for me down the road when I started shooting photos and doing the video stuff, to have opportunity. But I always thought I wanted to own a hunting and fishing store growing up. My dad would I'm from Richmond, Virginia, and we have a shop called Green Top in Richmond, which was in Goochland. And my dad would take me into this cool store, and I just fell in love with that kind of style stuff. And I've always been a small business guy, so Barron's I was drawn to Barron's, trying to find a job when I first went to Columbia to go to school at Carolina. And it was a great experience for me. But I Kent asked me if I wanted to buy the place. I was like, no, sir. I've got other things I want to do. I was like, I wanted to own my own store at one point in my life, but you couldn't pay me to work in a retail store anymore. So
just stuck in one location all the time.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'd go out. When I started my photos, my photo and video journey. Just the opportunity, the experiences, the people you meet. All those types of things. It was hard to walk back in that store and work 40 hours a week when, my life was going in a different direction. But yeah, I mean, Barron's Outfitters is one of the reasons why I am where I am. So Kent Parsons is the owner of that. And they've only been through 3 owners in that store. So, as a small business guy, I love small business. My whole family has a bunch of small businesses. Just it's something to be able to be in this industry and still be afloat. Like, that's a staple in South Carolina. I mean, it might be the oldest hunting and fishing store in South Carolina at 1947. I mean, it's been, if you know anything about Columbia, Hardin Street used to be a dirt road back in the day, and Barron's Outfitters was on it. So it's been there for a minute. So super cool spot. So
how'd you I'm trying not to burp all over myself here. It's bubbly water.
Yeah, that seltzer will get you.
How did you get into the videography, photography thing?
I was just trying to, I don't know. My mom bought me in 2007, which, I wasn't even thinking anything photography, videography. She just bought me on a whim. Those Canon Power Shots, the 2 battery Ashton Kutcher special. She bought me one of those, and I really never did much with it. And then she bought a camera, and I just started fiddling around. This is fast forward to like 2012. I had a black and tan coon dog at the time, and I was taking some cool pics of him, and they turned out pretty cool. But then I put that to the wayside and didn't even really think anything of it. And, phones advanced. I was going through college, finished college, and I was always taking pictures with my phone and editing them on some, awful editing software back then, Yeah. So came to be 2015. I borrowed my oldest brother's camera. He dabbles with the stuff that I do, not hunting and fishing, but he's a very technically savvy individual. And I borrowed a camera, and I was just looking for a way once, I got out of college to be able to afford the student loans that I had coming in. So, cause I had a ton of student loans when I got out of school. First couple of years I was out of state, and then, the last couple in state, but still had a ton of student loans. So I was looking for an out while working at Barron's for something to me to do to make up residual money, just to help me stay afloat. And so I borrowed my brother's camera and took some photos of my cousins actually just shooting portraits on a beach, and they turned out really cool. I was very surprised with the ability of things that I was able to capture in that moment with barely even holding a DSLR in my hand. So I went from there, and I bought my parents helped me get started. I got a computer, and then a Canon 70D, just a crop sensor. It might be a full sensor, but just started shooting photos, and just obviously hobby oriented, just having fun with it. It kind of went from there. I've, you know, Frankie Marion that owns Explore Boatworks in Columbia. He used to be C1 Films on Instagram, still has it, but he used to be really big into creating film, you know, in the fishing space. So the easiest thing that I found that I could get involved with working at the shop was trying to go somewhere and do something fishing oriented. You know, I started this business, or I started shooting in August of 2015. So, you know, fishing season's still rocking and rolling. So I went and bought the camera and just started just clicking away, you know, being the fact that I was in a hunting and fishing store every day, you know, I would be able to talk about that kind of stuff and draw attention to the fact that that's something that I've gotten into. I really enjoy doing it. You know, can I tag along on trips? And, you know, people would always tell you, you know, come on, yeah, man, come on, come on. And then when they go fishing, you know, they never call you, which understandably, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was always that guy that was like, I'll pay for gas, you know, whatever. And, you know, I never got called. And then I'd see him in my store, you know, a month later and like, heck yeah, man, we killed him. I was like, oh, I guess you forgot to call me.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, it is what it is. But then, you know, I started shooting with Frankie, and he kind of took me under his wing. And he used to do the Explore projects back in the day, and we built a boat together. That kind of started him in the realm of Explore Boatworks for him. So he went this way, and I was kind of riding that tide with him, and we did a cool short film. We built a boat with Spear Boatworks from, you know, a piece of paper to a hull in 6 days. I filmed it all. That was my first real experience with filming. I had already been taking some pics, but, you know, I was still shooting in JPEG at the time instead of shooting raw. So he definitely helped me get me to a place early on in what I do, um, faster than I would have probably gotten myself. So he certainly was a big backer in helping me get to where I am. But you know, it really came down to getting with Saltwater Sportsman magazine, and that was a trip. The reason why I worked for Saltwater Sportsman magazine as a freelance gig. Michael Sims was having some boats wrapped for hook and gaff down in Louisiana, 2 boats, fish finish charters out of Louisiana. And he was like, hey, you want to go down here? It's going to be a short trip, bro, but, you know, there and back, we'll drive, we'll fish one day and we'll drive back the next day. And so I was like, absolutely, you know, I'm down for it. Went down there, caught a ton of, we caught 400 pounds of yellowfin tuna and 3 fish, caught some wahoo, you know, amberjacks, just had a banner day. You know, just for, you know, a long drive down, a great day of fishing, and then we were headed back home the next morning.
Or you went to Venice?
Right out of Venice, yeah. Fish finish charters, those guys are good. But so we went down there, and then, you know, the next thing I knew, I had a message from Saltwater Sportsman magazine in my inbox for, you know, folks on Instagram, and they were like, hey, we see you've posted a lot of yellowfin tuna photos. We're looking for a cover shot for the June, you know, cover. And so I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so I signed on with them to do freelance, and you know, I'm still a freelance guy with them, but I got back-to-back covers June and July, my first 2 months working for them. So, and that was still super early on to like shooting photos. So that to me jump-started me into my career, as far as having an opportunity early on to launch me into a position to where, you know, those guys that used to not calling me at the shop, you know, now I have an opportunity. Now I have a reason to put you on a cover of a national magazine. So the calls were a lot more, you know, they happen more often because of an opportunity of being on a cover. So that was probably the staple in my career, as far as knowing where I went from, you know, just, you know, flatline or, you know, casual grade to more a little bit higher right off the rip. So that was a big moment for me.
It's funny how that works. You get a little popular, and then all of a sudden you got a ton of friends.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a great ride. It's been a hell of a ride so far. So, but yeah, definitely. So, you know, Michael Sims has been there hook and gaff, talking about hook and gaff today, you know, shooting photos for him. He's been there since like the beginning. So, you know, one of the main reasons that I am where I am is because of opportunities that he presented. So both my first 2 covers on Saltwater Sportsman were both hook and gaff oriented trips. So the next one was a dolphin in July, and that was a trip we took out some vets. Ozzy Martinez has a company called Operation Wet Vets, and he takes guys fishing down in Miami, but he kind of takes them all over, but they suffer from PTSD. So I shot a film and a short film, and then, just documenting our day. And I had some cool shots of dolphin. We caught quite a few dolphin that day and was able to get the July cover. So my first 2 trips were Michael Sims oriented. So
Yeah,
I have a lot of respect for him and the things that he's done for me and my job and my career, where we're going. So
I think I can remember. I know that like my wife was following along with you for a long time, but I think I can remember when you used to be everywhere, and now like I know you've signed a lot of agreements and some of your stuff's
Sure.
kind of hidden. But I remember seeing your watermark all over the place.
Yeah.
Like just living in Charleston and just seeing it everywhere. I know Gus does too, right?
Yeah. I was going to ask you, you've, over the years, like obviously you've had different opportunities to shoot different things and shoot for different people. There's a combination, when you look through, and I know your Instagram is probably just a microcosm of what you shoot and what you produced, but there's a good mixture of shooting people, shooting animals. Like what's more fun to you to shoot? Do you enjoy like people in action or animals more fun because they're kind of unpredictable?
I would say, I've always said it, is photographing canines. I mean, I absolutely love to photograph dogs.
Yeah.
If there was something that I had to do for the rest of my career, and that was like the only thing that I got to do. Now, whether, photographing dogs is a large variety of things that you can do, but definitely in like the hunting space. I mean, photographing dogs work, whether it's upland game or it is, in a duck blind, watching them work, ducks and retrieve those. I mean, that is a very cool moment. And then trying to, capturing dogs work, but then capturing relationships that dogs have with their owners and being able to capture that is something special as well. There's a lot of emotion that goes into hunting with dogs, and working dogs and all that. So shooting photos of canines would be hands down probably something that I would rather, I would love to do on a daily basis.
I was going to tell you that a friend of mine has some really good pictures of him and his dog, and then it dawned on me you might have been the one to take the damn pictures. Do you know Andrew Spear?
Yes, okay. I do.
Yeah, I think that might have been you that took those pictures.
Probably so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he's got a yellow lab. Yeah.
Yep. No,
Okay,
he
cool.
came out to Kansas, and I got some shots of his dog.
Yep. That would have been it.
He's love me some Andrew Spear. He's a good dude.
He's a good dude. I worked with him for several years.
Yeah,
I know him too.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, dogs for sure is something that I love. I mean, I was able to win the Gunner Kennels Photo Contest 2 years ago for a photo I shot out in Kansas. So, I mean, I just have a passion for photographing canines. I've done a lot of work with Gunner, and that's just something that I really appreciate is photographing dogs.
Nice.
100%. You definitely like, I don't know how to, like, it was always like, oh, that's Justin Hodge. Like when I would see you places, people would be like, oh, and then I guess we met through Beam.
Yeah.
Andrew. Yeah. And it was like, hey, what's up?
What's up, bro?
What's up?
Yeah. I know you.
Yeah. And, but it was always really cool to see stuff. And then, that you get, that's one thing about being out in like the outdoor industry is eventually you're going to run into people.
Yeah, it's so small.
Yeah,
both hunting and fishing industry is though it's vast, it's very small.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But watching some of the stuff you do is like, it makes me jealous as an outdoorsman. Like, why? Like maybe I should reconsider my life plan and what I'm doing. It's like you look like you're having a blast.
I'm having fun. I mean, I'm very blessed. Trying to figure out a passion that I had and something that I've been trying to figure it out. I mean, I went to school for criminal justice at Carolina, and I thought I wanted to do something federally, and ultimately I didn't really care to do that anymore. And luckily I had a business minor. And so kind of took that retail line, and then, everything leads to, I'm a huge believer in everything happens for a reason. So, it put me in a place where, I was comfortable in the retail space, and then it, pushed me to really start, because I've been hunting and fishing my entire life. So, having working in a field for 12 years, having a passion for hunting, fishing my entire life, I really wanted to do something in the line. I thought it was going to be, rep work, running rep lines for, retail companies and kind of doing that. I still wanted to travel a fair amount. But, the photography thing, videography thing is really what pushed me in a direction that I am now. So,
Gus was saying does it sound better? Or are we still messed up?
Oh, you're just now getting that? No, it sounds a lot better. I think what was going on was it was just barely picking up you guys kind of talking in the background. And so it was trying to pull a bunch of it was adding gain to get that sound. And it was just causing a lot of static. You guys sound perfect now though.
Okay, good. Cause I was going to be like, I hope we didn't just miss all that.
No, I would have, no, I would have said something. I would have said something.
Okay.
I would've
All
let
right.
that ride.
Yeah. Good.
cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that whiskey you just sipped on?
That's good. I'm a big fan of Russell's. I mean, I don't drink a whole lot of bourbon or whiskey. I know, don't kick me out of your house.
No, never.
But we've shared quite a bit with one another, over the recent months. But yeah, I mean, when duck season comes in, that's when I'm ready for it. Colder months, obviously, that warm feeling you get, good camaraderie. Normally when I'm sharing a glass of bourbon, it's always with a hunter, a fella we're getting ready to, hopefully we don't have too many of those, and we don't have a hanger in the morning, but
yeah,
that's something that I've found with duck season, is a quality glass of bourbon. And there's guys that I've had opportunities, South Carolina is tough to get into really good duck hunting, but at least they've got those groups that have their, their duck clubs. And, that style of hunting is, you eat, you fellowship, you have share some good bourbon, and, you wake up the next morning and you shoot your tamies a lot of times, but, there's obviously, some wild guys that'll be in there, but, bourbon has always been something that, makes me understand a certain time of the year, which is great, which I appreciate good bourbon for that, for duck season. And it always puts me in a good mood, good spirits, for sure.
Yeah, makes sense. It's definitely, it's hard to drink that in the middle of the summer on a boat.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Like I've done it, and it's like, right.
And people are like kind of frowned upon. You're like, really? In August or, July? Yeah. But no, that I appreciate a good bourbon shared with good people, good fellowship. That's one thing, just along with food, sharing good food, sharing a glass of good bourbon is really speaks volume to a good time. Typically, anytime you pull a bottle out or make some good food,
you just verbalized a commercial for you.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Official spokesperson.
Whiskey and Whitetails, sponsored by Justin Hodge. But no, like just with even like photography for me, photography is what, and you shoot photos too. You're a videographer as well, so you understand that, and I think that's why we share a common bond between one another. We have a good relationship with one another because we understand things at a molecular level, but
we know how to look at something
and appreciate something for a very small detail of how it is and what it provides you. And food is one thing, a good glass of bourbon, and photography, those are things that enable you to touch on your senses of, especially with bourbon. I mean, your smell, your taste, your touch, and the texture of that is very big. Same thing with food, and same thing with photography. So the three of those things together is pretty awesome.
What do you prefer more, photography or videography?
Definitely photography.
Same.
Yeah. I mean, I really hate I don't hate it, but I don't appreciate where social media has gone with where photographers stand on that platform anymore. You know, that was a hard thing for me to get over was the way you know, completely drop photographers, and they made you your money for
Yeah.
so many years, but you know,
Yeah.
they do whatever they want, and you know, TikTok rules all, and that's
Yep.
why Instagram went the way they did, and they had to do that, which is understandable. But you know, I shoot a lot of videography, but that's one thing that I truly appreciate about photos is, you know, I've had so many people come up to me and see a shot that I've taken, or, you know, I've got prints laid out. Say I'm at a show where, like, you know, Seaweed or somebody comes in and sees a print, and they tell me about an experience that they've had via the photo that I've taken.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, photography is something that you can imagine more often than a, you know, 30-second clip, a minute clip, whatever. Photography enables you, the viewer, to, yes, you can do that with videography, but you, the viewer, can stare at an image and take you somewhere that you remember. And that's one of the things with dogs is, like, I'd photograph dogs and people were like, man, I'd love to buy that if it was only my dog. But
Yeah.
there's so many stories that people would come up and tell me. They were like, you know, I remember a situation where me and my dog were doing this, or a fishing situation or a hunting situation. And, you know, I get a lot more feedback from that, because somebody can actually put themselves in a photo quicker than they can, I feel like, in a video. You know, I feel like there's a lot more motion captured in one single still image than there is in videography. But yes, videography can certainly have some real moving things. I mean, I've teared up watching videos before myself. I mean, that's true emotion. But photography, you know, there's things that bring people together, and I think photography is one of those things that everybody can relate to and everybody can understand, and it means a lot more to them. I mean, as a whole, I feel like people enjoy photos versus video, but we're so crammed down our throat with what we do on a daily basis now, to where everybody's, it's, you know, you got to have 14, 15 seconds of, man, I really hope this one makes it. And
Yeah.
like, you know, us creatives, we sit there and and take a lot of time. And I'm not saying that photography is easier, because it certainly is compared to putting a document together, or, you know, a short film or whatever. But, you know, being able to have so much time put into a video, and then, you know, with the way the algorithms are, you know, not get any traction, and you just spent, like, you know, a week working on a killer video, but it just
Yeah.
gets passed over like this.
Mhm.
And the same way with photos now, like, nobody sees your photos that
Nobody.
you put on the internet
No.
anymore.
Which
Cool
sucks.
Cool photo. Do you have a reel though?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
What's
Exactly.
like our
Yeah,
Instagram, we kind of built it with photography because
right.
it was just photo, because I enjoyed it. I'll take a bottle
Sure.
somewhere and take a
Yeah.
picture of it. And then now, I mean, you post a picture, it gets
It
like,
gets nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
100
Yeah,
likes.
nothing. Yeah,
Like,
you know, I'm
what?
used to 800, 900,
Yeah.
and like now when I post, it's like creeps to maybe 200. And I was like, but you know, obviously I've kind of stepped away from posting a lot on my Instagram page. I run Instagram pages for other companies, and so that I'm just, you know, from having an Instagram page, I had my own Instagram page in 2012.
Yep.
And then, you know, when I started the photos in 2015, you know, I've been hard at it on Instagram for, you know, over 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, 2015, sorry, you know, hard on it, running businesses for other people and running my own page. I'm so tired of social media by the time I come around to my page, and my page suffers because I'm just like, you know, I just, whatever,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I do post some cool things from time to time, but I hate it for guys that want to see my imagery. And it's tough to just have that grind day in and day out to throw photos up there that nobody's going to see because of the
Yep.
algorithm.
Because the reason why is everybody opens Instagram and they hit the search function and they go to it, the first reel they see,
Yeah,
and then they
it's
just swipe.
They're gone for 30
Yep.
minutes
Yep.
before
Never come in and look at a
they
picture.
take a breath. They're like,
Yep.
man, I've been here for an hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Death scrolling, they call
yeah,
it.
scrolling. Yeah. Death scrolling.
But the thing is when you have the engagement, it's not as hard to grind it out, you know, to
Right.
say, you know what, I'm gonna post some pictures today, because you're getting interaction and people are talking to you and people are appreciative. But when you don't see it and you spend, you know, an hour and a half taking a bottle somewhere to get pictures, or, you know, getting getting us waiting for sunset to be whatever it is, right? And there's no no feedback because, like you said, everyone hits the first reel they see, and then they're down a rabbit hole for an hour.
Right. Yeah.
It makes it hard to want to put in the work.
Yeah. I try not to stay on like the real page because yes, you will.
Oh yeah.
You will scroll endlessly. You
Yep.
know, till the end of time.
The other thing
I
is
try and stay on the main page,
right, yeah, and the feed, so you can actually see.
Even though everything's a sponsored
Yeah,
post,
all of it.
You may like this,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like seriously,
I don't get it.
Yeah, I do appreciate the fact that you can go up to the top of your Instagram now and put like click on it and say, you know, I want the people that I'm following, but they're still posting as much in there and trying to get you to follow other people just as much as, you know.
Yeah, we did it.
Page.
It's like you see something and you're like, I totally forgot I was following that person. And you go in there and you look and there's like 30 new posts. And you're like, oh, cool.
And you're that guy, you're like, then they screenshot and they're like, hey, man, thanks, Matt. Yeah, you finally saw my stuff. And I'm like, sorry. There's a lot of that goes on my page. And like people will send me a message like, sorry, man, I hadn't seen nothing from you in a long time. I was like, well, nothing to it. That's the algorithms. It's all good.
Spending all that time to make reels, like sometimes you get one that takes off and gets, you know, we have one right now is like 500,000 or 670,000, you know, like those feel good. But then that view, I didn't even film that. Somebody filmed it with my phone. Right. And then I literally just uploaded it with the sound of Jurassic Park.
You're just going to have to hire that guy. Evidently.
But then it's like, I go in there with a camera with the Sony and I'm in there filming stuff and like I put it all together and it, you know, doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
I don't understand
it. It definitely stresses you out if you really let it. But you know, I make reels for other companies, but you know, I have a laundry list of things I want to do for my own page, but you know, time passes by so quickly that you know with what I do nowadays is, you know, this is my sole job and, you know, I have to provide for myself and be in good standing with, you know, future. So, you know, a lot of times it gets tough when you're grinding to try and find jobs and, you know, work to really take the time to do your own thing, especially when you know that you aren't really active on social media to where you know that whatever you post is not going to be in anywhere in somebody's algorithm. So.
It's also not, it's like your social media page isn't quote unquote making you money.
Right.
Like it's not paying you, but it's also like you have to maintain it because it does kind of pay you. It gets you work.
It's a portfolio for me. Right. And, you know, luckily now where I am in my job and my career, you know, I found that I don't really have to post on there very much anymore because, you know, thankfully I'm established in the things that I do, and I know enough guys in the industry and the things that I do that, you know, people all ask me all the time for opportunity to come down and help them do something, or, you know, I've got a lot of side gigs that I do, you know, not just in the hunting and fishing side. I mean, you can make it in the industry. You know, you could if you were really good at photo and video, but there's obviously side things that you've got to be good at to do as well to make money on, to stay afloat. You know, I if I could, I would be a photographer, just full-time photographer, just because I love photography that much. But, you know, when I left Barron's in June of 2021, after COVID, I was all set to jump, and before COVID, I was just going to do it. And then COVID happened, and thank God that it didn't, or I'd be, you know, one of those guys and workout videos at my house. You know, everybody's doing their own creative stuff at their house. They're like, yeah. So, you know, luckily I had that position still to work full time every day through COVID, managing a hunting and fishing store because, you know, we're an essential business selling firearms. And so that really kept my sanity. Because if I was at home, I might have tried to figure out things to do. Obviously, I'm not somebody that's just going to sit around, but I jumped in 2023 or 2021, June of 2021. So I jumped full time. You know, COVID had been kind of where it was, and I was ready to take on that position of trying to do my own thing. Cause, you know, everybody always tells you like, hey, when you jump, you'll never look back. And, you know, everybody tells you that. And like, yeah, I know. I'm just trying to get there. You know, I've got all these bills, you know, student loan bills and all these things, you know, just jumping out there in the freelance world and trying to make it, you know, sink or swim.
It's such an accomplishment to be able to do it, though.
Yeah, for sure. But that was one thing that I really had to do was jump more heavily into the video side of things, because you weren't just going to make it as a photographer. I
Right.
mean, unless you're big into portraits or like weddings, I mean, that is a solid gig for people that have constant grind of doing that kind of stuff. But you know, I've been there, done that, and that's not really how I am. I don't really appreciate portraits.
I'm not a wedding photographer
yeah,
ever. They're like, you should do weddings. And I'm like,
yeah.
I would rather buy a drone and film roofs before hurricanes
Yeah,
than
absolutely.
do any
Yeah,
wedding photography.
exactly. There's some excitement in roofing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yep.
But no, that was just one thing that I really found that, you know, running social medias. I ran Explore Boatworks social media when I first jumped. I was still running hook and gaffs then, as I do now. And you know, that was something that kept me afloat. But like when I first moved to Bluffton, you know, I knew a couple people down there, but I basically moved away from anything extra on the side that I could pick up by guys walking into my store, whether it's like commercial real estate, photograph. I was just up in Columbia last weekend photographing, you know, huge Volvo machinery for a guy that sells that kind of stuff that I've known through, you know, that job. So I still have a lot of gigs that I can get and pick up from, you know, because Columbia is not far away from me. But that was one thing that I left completely and moved to a place where I didn't know anything. I was like, you know, if I'm going to make this jump and I'm going to do well in this, I've got to get away from all the distractions that I have here in Columbia. And then I need to get down there and start fresh and get my mind right to do well in this industry and really take my job that I had for 6 years, because I was running part-time. I was running for 6 years straight, working at Barron's Outfitters, 40 hours a week at Barron's, and then, you know, trying to make it on my photography side. You know, and when I finally jumped, you know, things weren't going that great for me back then. And, you know, I prayed about it, you know, come August. And, you know, cause I was really starting to doubt opportunity and what I was doing at that point in time. And so it was a lot to know that, you know, I, I want this to work, but, you know, nothing's happening for me. The only thing that keeps me afloat is these social media platforms. And so, you know, I prayed that prayer and, you know, really, really asking if this was what I was supposed to do for the rest of my life. And then a gentleman by the name of JJ Slater called me 2 weeks later to run Rob Fordyce's show on the Outdoor Channel with him. So like answered prayer 2 weeks later, something that I like was visually able to see.
Yeah.
And then ever since I started doing the Outdoor Channel show with Rob SeaHunter, you know, that kind of put me in a standing with other guys in the industry to where they've known I've worked in this kind of stuff, and it's all just skyrocketed from there. And it's been that's been a blessing for me, is being able to see that work for me, and how great that of you know that experience. Shortly in September, it got me to where I didn't have to worry about, you know, finding the next gig. You know, I still chase for sure, but people are more susceptible and know who I am now to where they call me, and we set a lot of things up, you know, whether it's on the commercial side of things or in the hunting and fishing space. So,
Do you think because we noticed that as well, that the money in videography versus photo, do you think it's because of the cost of entry, or do you think it's people can't figure out frame rates, or is it strictly the editing? I think it's a lot the editing.
I think it has. Well, I think it has everything to do with the eye of the videographer for sure.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have an eye to be able to video things or photo things in a way that promotes yourself, but also grabs people's attention. You know, I think the editing is hands down one of the biggest things with in both fields, but definitely in videography nowadays. Like kids are getting so daggone good at this because they've had a tablet in their hand from the time they're 2 years old versus us old guys. You know, we had
to learn it.
Yeah, we were already mature.
That's what Stark. So he
Yeah.
843 Productions. He doesn't even do it anymore.
Yeah.
He still owns the company, and whenever he gets an email, somebody wants something done, he hires some kid out of college of Charleston that just knows how to do it. He's 19. But I used to edit family videos for my, you know, and it's enough to get commercials done and things like that. They're not doing anything crazy cinematic like you are, but
it's definitely there's an art to videography. My appreciation to the guys that are really good at it. I have a lot of appreciation of those guys because they just get it. There's a lot more time that goes into creating video, which I truly appreciate those guys that are just grinding that industry, doing that industry, and that's all they love to do. Is those guys are pretty special. So.
It's the time part of it. If you're doing like, cause we filmed a short film, basically kind of like a documentary on, high wire distilling, and but it's an interview, so it's we probably have an hour and a half of him talking.
Right.
It's so hard to go through it because it's like you have to go through it over and over and over.
Sure.
So it's like by the time we'll have it cut up and put into it, it's been a year I've been working on it. It's just I mean, we're not getting paid to do it, so there's not like a money reason behind it.
There's not a reason pushing you to finish.
But the thing that's crazy is an hour and a half of him talking plus our narration and what we want to portray for the story, we might use 5 minutes of him talking.
Right.
It's like
figuring out that the best 5 minutes is it's the same thing. You put a song, you're like, man, I really love this song. And then by the end of the time you're finished with that video, you're like, I really wish I never heard that song ever again.
Yeah,
you're so over
ruined songs.
Matt has I've recommended songs and he's like, I like that song. I'm not going to use it because it'll ruin it.
Because I'll never like it ever again.
Because it's just like grip and then back and then back, and it's like
you're done with it.
No, I try not to use songs that I like for that reason, which sucks because it's like finding a song, a royalty free song, dude, takes forever.
It really does.
It takes forever, and I just sit there on whatever I use, StreamCloud, or I can't remember what it's called.
Artlist is another one.
I'll just sit there and just play. Like, this song sucks. This song sucks. And it's like, you'll filter by most popular, hoping
it's like being on Instagram watching reels.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be there all day long and trying to find a song. Cause there's a moment where you love a song and then the next 3 seconds are just this terrible.
Yeah. Like why did it do that?
Yeah. Like why, what? We had something good going here. Like, why are we? So
I've had it come through like 10
slice
seconds in. I'll cut it out. I'll cut it out. But you're like, yes.
What was this
Here
guy
comes
thinking?
the drop. And then it's like, shh, we're talking. And you're like, what? Why did you do that?
Man, I was building. It was such a build.
Yeah.
I've cut audio and then copied and pasted it to loop it to get rid of the part I didn't like just to make my own. Yeah,
certainly. That's something for sure.
Yeah. It's the other thing too is when you hear a song and you're like, that I want to make a reel out of that, and you're trying to put it together, and in those 3 or 4 days of like something happening, that song gets overused, and now it's like every reel you see is they're using that song.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to do, what was that one? I couldn't get it out of my head. With the big iron on his hip, that song.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to use that song, and now it's like I see it everywhere, and I'm like, maybe I wonder if I heard it, and then it was like trending. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of like I love the song, I love the meaning behind it. The Rich Man North of Richmond.
Yep.
Like, unbelievable song. That guy is incredible. Yeah. But like, we were listening to it a couple of times this weekend. We're like, man, it's a tough song to listen to now because it just played so much.
Yeah.
But no, that guy is an incredible artist. But nothing to take away from that. But that is just a song that we were all kind of like, I'm kind of done with it.
I'm done with it. Yeah. I don't even. I won't even play it. Which is, I think he was. Do you think he was smart or dumb to pass all that up?
I don't know, man. Like, probably a little both.
Yeah.
Setting yourself up for future is one thing because he wasn't going to have to worry about. I mean, I think he finally did sign from what I saw.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I think he has signed with somebody to help him out and move forward. But yeah, I mean,
I know he's getting $40,000 a month from Spotify.
Yeah,
like
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So he apparently he signed with somebody to.
It's a heck of a song.
I know.
He signed with somebody to help him manage like his tour. Like he came out and was very like specific to say, I didn't sign a record label or anything like that. I just needed an agency, a talent agency to help
to keep him in like
bookings and things like that. He said, I just
keep
can't
him organized, basically. Yeah.
But someone I heard some, cause anytime someone blows up really quickly, there's it's an industry plant. There's always those conspiracy theorists. Somebody said that his uncle is some sort of big time lawyer in the entertainment industry, and that he was some kind of industry plant. But I don't care if he is or not.
I mean, the first time I ever saw it was on Joe Rogan.
Yep,
posted it.
Oh yeah,
that was the first time I ever saw it.
Actually, she saw it, and then she was like, "Joe Rogan just posted this dude's going to blow up." Right?
Yeah.
Where'd you hear it from first? Yeah, there's other people's
And
stories.
I mean, it resonates with all of us, and
Mhm.
that's one thing that jumping back to like photography, like photography, videography resonates with somebody. Whatever you post, somebody sees that and appreciates it and resonates with it. So that's why I think, especially with all the political stuff, we don't
Oh yeah,
need to go that way.
yeah.
On
We try
this
not to here,
podcast.
but sometimes I get
But-
angry and just say things.
Yeah, but
I'm
it's
sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that just shows how viral and how amazing something can change in somebody's lives in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Especially with social media. Like there is so much opportunity out there, which makes the industry that I work in and that we work in a lot harder now, is because everybody wants to be a part of that. And it's not like, I was fresh, jumping in 2015, there's guys been doing it for way longer than I've ever been doing it. And I'm just one of those guys jumping into the sea together, with everybody else. But as far as a position nowadays, I would say it's the most oversaturated market job on the planet, hands down.
Content creation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we don't even like reference, like if someone's like, what is it? It's like, we're a lot of things, but I've never been like, oh, we're content creators. Cause it's like, I can't stand it. And a lot of content seems to be repetitive. Yeah, gross. Yeah. They do the same thing over and over because that one thing worked. And so they just keep doing it. Yeah. Where it's like, for your stuff, I always thought it was, the word that always came to my mind was like classy. Like it's just, it looks professional. It looks classy. It's not, you're not like, oh, this will get likes. It's the same quality all the time. And that's always been, it's like when we think about doing stuff, I won't post junk usually because it's like, even though it's funny or it's, that would get likes, I don't care. I'm not putting junk on
it's a brand. And that's one thing that kind of sets you apart is like, you can have a page over here that, you can just throw things like, shoot spitballs at the wall and hopefully they stick. Something that you truly care about, something that is your livelihood and something that you want to see succeed. It's a lot better if it's a clean, just well-oiled machine versus like, hey, let's just throw everything we can up there and just see what works best for us. And it's really taking the time to dial in the content that you want to put on the page, and then getting more creative with that same style of content, but still have a really nice, classy look to all of it.
Yeah. It's not filmed with a mirrorless. It's not going.
Oh, heck no, man. Shoot, no.
Yeah. I started on a 70 or a 60D.
60D?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. I bought it.
And then you went to the dark side. I see you got the old.
So I had a bunch of Canon stuff, and I think that was the first one that came out that was mirrorless, and it was in my price range.
Right.
And so
what is that? Sony A7
A7
III.
Yeah. It's a couple years old now. We bought two of them, and
yeah, I mean, guys in my industry absolutely love Sony. I mean, they are the staple. They are the workhorse of mirrorless game. I mean, they were really the standard.
It's got a quarter inch of like dirt and grime on it. I've never cleaned it. I had to buy the stuff for the sensor, but outside of that camera is insane. It's been dropped. It's
dude. I've watched you do things with that camera that make me very uncomfortable.
Oh yeah. Well, Gus has one, and they treat it like a.
It looks nice.
Like they treat it like fine china.
Yeah,
and I'm just like,
it's a tool to
shit
use.
out of it.
Yeah, no.
I'll throw that shit in the back seat and keep going.
I mean, the amount of people I've got mine, rigged up. I shoot a Canon R5 mirrorless, and
dang, man.
I went from the DSL or the 1DX Mark II DSLR. So I luckily when I worked with Frankie, he had a Canon 5D Mark II, I believe. So I got to play with a little bit nicer camera than my 70D, but I kind of try to find a camera that was the middle of the road to start, because I didn't want to start with like a Rebel. I wanted something a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then being able to run the 5D, and then I went to the 1DX Mark II from the 70D of my own. And that was a huge workhorse for me for years. And then, I see where the industry's going, and, if you're still shooting a DSLR, you're behind the times.
Yep.
Even though they're great for what they still do. And, all my glass for the most part is still L glass for that. But, mirrorless is the future
Mhm.
from here until the end of time. Like I don't think DSLR is going to ever make a comeback. There's just too many working parts, and
Yep.
you know, built in, you know, ISO, built-in aperture, being able to see instead of shooting an image or shooting an image through the viewfinder, because you'd be ultimately be this guy just
Yeah.
holding your camera out in front of you, like, you know,
And you're a
set
little bit
up,
higher
yeah.
than what you're
So,
actually
but
seeing.
you're still trying to, you know, with the DSLR, you're taking a single click, and then you're having to change everything.
Yep.
Another click, trying to dial in your settings. In a viewfinder and a mirrorless, you know, that's all right in front of you,
Yeah, you
right
get what
there
you see.
to change. So
Yep.
that's that was a game changer for sure. So, you know,
Yep.
I'm a Canon guy.
It's okay.
You can't get me off Canon to go Sony to the dark side. But, you know, the amount of people that shoot Sony in the industry that I do, and the things that I like, all my guys on the SFC, I'm sitting here running a Canon cinema camera, and everybody has, you know, the Sony, you know, FS6, FX5s, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, there was one other guy on the squad that had a Canon as well. So we kind of stuck together on troubleshooting anything, but, you know, I had nobody to lean on,
Yeah.
but everybody else had, you know, everybody else to lean on because they had Sony stuff. So
You should get a lens adapter for Sony. That way, if you ever need it,
yeah,
because no one's gonna have a Canon adapter.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I only run Reds anymore anyway.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah. Yeah. Big timer.
yeah,
So,
got a garage full of them. You know?
yes, sir.
And cranes. You know,
Yeah.
do you run do you run gimbals at all?
I don't. I mean, I have one. I should use it more.
Yeah, that's the same.
But, you know, the internal stabilization,
They're so good.
that is, you know, on the Canon R5, and then the stabilization in your lens. I mean, that if you're pretty steady with what you're doing,
If you know how to film.
well, nowadays, I mean, they love the shake. They love the
know.
shake
Yeah.
nowadays. So it's like, doesn't have to be, you know,
The
fluid.
running,
Yeah.
it drives me nuts every time. I feel like I'm getting an
Yeah.
epileptic
Yeah.
shock when I see people running with a camera.
The ones where it's like purposely shaky and blurry. It's like I could have given this to my 5-year-old to do.
Yeah.
And
Dude, that's what always got me about Soul Snatchers.
yeah,
You ever seen
So
Soul
many-
Snatchers?
I don't know if I
Such a big
I'm gonna make you
following.
look at it.
All right.
it's such
huge
a big
following.
following, and it's like all the stuff is just. I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's
I'm
really
not talking
cool,
shit at all.
unique. It's just
There you go.
I would have never thought to do anything like that.
Just like click through a couple of them, a couple of videos. Like everything's out of focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible, but it works.
It's terrible, but it works.
does.
I don't know.
You got to find your niche.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it,
for
it
sure.
makes it look all like, you know, military stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to blur it out for security. I think
But
that's
it's
what
like-
people eat.
We filmed. I filmed with him at a Snipers Unknown event, and I was like, "Let me get some of your footage." And he's like, what did he say? Do you remember?
I don't recall.
He sent me some. It's all out of. I couldn't use any of it.
But he knows exactly
'Cause
how he
yep,
shoots.
yep.
Yeah.
Everything was out of focus
Yeah.
and blurry and shaky, and
Yeah.
the lighting was off. Like everything needed to be edited. But
Yeah.
he just throws these like hot white filters over it and
Sure.
makes it look like night vision, and then
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, they certainly, you know, gimbals are certainly nice. You got to use them,
Yeah.
especially in a lot of production. But I find I can get away with a lot of the, you know, the short clips that you do. You know, you shoot in, you know, 60.
Yeah.
You're able to slow it down a little bit, still have your audio. And, you know, those Sonys do really well. They keep their audio, I'm pretty sure, at 120 even.
Yep.
Or maybe even 240 for some of them. But
That one doesn't. If you go
Yeah.
to like the S&Q stuff,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
loses audio.
that's one thing that sucks about the Canons is, you know, you lose your qualities your sound when you're shooting high frame rate. And,
Yeah.
120 slow-mo. But, you know, being able to slow down in shooting in 60, keeping your audio, you know, with the stabilization in camera and on lens, you know, you can get away without using one a lot of times.
Yeah.
But
I'll use that one like if I'm outside doing stuff.
right.
But if I'm in a building or in here or whatever, like there's just no need.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
walking around outside, you kind of need it. And then if I'm trying to do any kind of like swooping motions, but even then,
Yeah.
people like that like sharp, jerky.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about, you know, quick cuts and
Yeah.
quick motion.
Dude, when
nowadays.
jump cuts
Yeah.
started becoming a thing, I was like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to adapt that. That's everything I film is going to be jump cut.
Yeah.
Fuck a transition.
Man. Whenever you shoot, whenever you're
this.
shooting, yeah, right. Not dissolve shit.
Yeah.
Whenever you film, like when you're doing the fishing stuff, do you use any additional cameras? Do you use like supplement with like GoPros or any other stuff like that? Or
On the show,
yeah, that's what
it's
I meant.
dependent.
Sorry.
Like on the CBS show,
Yeah.
that I am really, I can have a GoPro and send them that footage too.
Sure.
But my main concern is to shoot what's going on my. I use a C207 or a Canon C200
Okay.
for my cinematic camera, just because it has SDI out input. It's a very cheap camera body nowadays. But it still puts out some really high quality stuff.
Yeah.
But that's the camera I use for that. Cause you're really shooting in just 1080. You're not shooting in 4K.
Yeah.
So to be able to shoot with that C200, that's, I mean, it's a workhorse. So that's what I shoot with on that. But, I'm all the time shooting stills, cause everybody knows, offshore fishing, it's feast or famine, and it takes a long time to find the feast.
Yeah.
A lot of times. So there's a lot of time on the boats where I spend a lot of my time photographing just stuff that's going on, minus, doing the stuff with the filming. But the CBS stuff this is my second year doing that with them, and it has grown tremendously, in the technology with how we're producing the show now versus how we were last year. Like last year, we were having a chase boat every tournament, 2 chase boats running to each boat. They pick up our cards every day.
Oh, wow.
For the most part, especially if we had a good catch. They would come, we'd, take them out. We'd write our notes on a piece of paper of the clip number, what happened, and put them in a Ziploc bag and, tie a balloon to them and throw them into the ocean. They're like, yep, hopefully it's floats. We don't get anything in it. And they pick it up with a gaff, and, they'd make their rounds and they'd run back. And the show was being produced out of Arkansas. The guys that do Bassmasters Classic are the guys that produce the show for Sportfishing Championship. So you see a lot of the same ties of that show into our show. But yeah, last year they would have to make like the show or pre-start cutting things overnight from us. Once the guys finally got back, shoot it to Arkansas, and then start producing a show overnight to then film and produce the next day. So this year, with the help of good old Elon Musk, he with the Starlink has been unbelievable.
Is that how you upload everything now?
Now, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we're able to now with Starlinks, every boat that the guys get on typically already has a Starlink, just because that's such huge technology nowadays, or they get put on them for the boats that we fish off of. So
how long does that take to upload that much video?
Well, we're running live. So it's
really?
a live screen recording. So when we have our live packs, we wear these live packs, and we plug straight into the live pack, and the live pack screen records and takes your audio and your video, and screen records it and sends it via Wi-Fi through the satellites, and then sends it back home to where they are, which is just crazy. Incredible. So
is that what you mean when you were talking about like Bassmasters? Like
yeah, so those guys, they're camera guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in a lake, so they typically never have to worry about connection. So they can run just off the cell phone towers.
Okay.
Versus we are so far offshore that we are having to pick up off the satellites. So the fact that we have our call times to be on live, show is live, but in the mornings, if I'll unplug, we all unplug from our live packs. We shoot something cool. We plug in when we're not live. We send a message saying, hey, just release the Blue Marlin. It's going to be this clip. And we play it back for them. They screen record that, and then they put that into the docket of the lineup that they're going to put in the show.
That's so crazy that the quality can maintain.
Yeah. And even when we were live, I mean, there was times where we hooked up while I was live on the show. And it's like a 2-3 second delay, which is unbelievable.
That's
being
wild.
150 miles offshore, which is crazy. I mean, I certainly appreciate Elon for doing his thing, because for me, I'm a Verizon user, and in this Gulf, like if you don't have AT&T, you ain't talking to nobody.
Yeah.
So But that has certainly been a game changer in a lot of things down there. So that was huge definitely for SFC and being able to go live. Like we had some of our spokes ladies on some of the boats in the last part of the year that would ride along with us, and we were doing in boat live updates on what the teams were doing on national television, which is crazy.
That's so wild.
Yeah. So just from throwing your SD cards into the ocean last year like we were live,
Yeah.
baby. So it is just technology has advanced tremendously, and the fact that they opened up the opportunity for civilians to do the Starlink stuff has been a game changer across the board. I mean, you ask any fishing guy, any captain, if they're not running Starlink, they are way behind the times. But
yeah,
it's not like there's any times that you have to get up to just as long as you get one. It's crazy to see just what you're able to do with Starlink.
It's a thing for hunting clubs now. We have
that too.
We got a friend that's got a property in Orangeburg ish, and yeah, they got Starlink out there.
Yeah.
They didn't have running water, but they got Starlink.
they got UT. They can make the water sound. Just,
right.
Put the audio. Yeah.
There you go.
But no, that's pretty incredible with that. So that's year 2. We just finished that, and going forward, it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. I mean, we ended up doing 12 tournaments this year. We added on the White Marlin Open. That was my first experience at WMO, which was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really cool fishing tournament. And but yeah, they're looking to add so many more tournaments to that list. And I'm just like, I didn't even have time for 12. Like we're talking about like 20 tournaments. I was like,
do you get told which boat? Who tells you where to go?
So last year, we got on boats, and so like majority of the guys will go back on the same boats if they're tournaments. Like in the Gulf, I fish with a team called Southern Charm. A guy named Ron Davis out of Houston owns that boat. It's 64 Hatteras.
Ooh, nice.
Really nice vessel.
Heck yeah. And
it was Hatteras' fishing team's boat years ago, and it's just a really nice boat, really good team. Landon's the captain of it. He's got 2 mates, 2-3 mates that run it with him. It's Chase, Connor, Kyle was on the boat this year, and there was another fellow that was on the boat last year, but like that was my team last year. That they did really well. Big sonar fishing team. Watching how even sonar has changed from last year to this year was huge.
Oh, yeah.
But majority of the boats that we do get on are ones that either they've asked for us, just knowing kind of like who we are, and the community's small in fishing, so people talk, and there's other tournaments I go to, and my main group, Southern Charm isn't fishing that tournament, but they know somebody and they recommend. So we're starting to grow as far as who likes, who appreciates the camera guys, and they love having us on board, which is great.
Well, I'm sure they do. Everybody wants their
picture to their 3 seconds of limelight, especially on national television,
especially live.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But no, it's cool to be able. I mean, it's kind of going in, jumping on a boat with somebody. I mean, those people don't know who you are, and that's one thing that's crazy about what we do is, one, we have to be good at what we do, or at least hope we're good at what we do, and we've got to have a craft to present to somebody to just give them a reason to get on the boat with them. But 2, you have to sell yourself, and 3, you've got to be able to have an open mind and a extroverted mindset to gel with these people, because if you don't get in and get conversating with these individuals and letting them feel more comfortable around you, I mean, your story is going to be a lot less than it would be if those people know you. So like when I step on a boat with guys that I know, and I've been there and I've done it, and they know me and they're good friends of mine, and when I get on the boat, it's just like being home. Like be back home with these guys, they share things with you, and it's just easy work after that, because you point a camera in somebody's face and they are not the same person most times than they are without one. So that becomes huge, just having the camaraderie with these guys and knowing that you're there for them just as much as they are for you, and having that bond and that camaraderie together is huge.
It's kind of need each other.
Just shoot something well documented thing that really touches on the senses that we've talked about. So
Nice.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, that whole thing with the SFC is a ride. I mean, we are exhausted by the time we're finished with it, but you know, it's a grind. You mean you go offshore for 3 days and you know, you come back and you're gone, and you come back and you got basically a day to rethink your stuff and, you know, get home, and then you're gone the next Wednesday, and then you're back on a boat Thursday, Friday, Saturday, fly home Sunday, and it's a repetitive door, to where you're doing that constantly. But it's, you know, you look at yourself in the mirror when you're tired and you're like, you know, this is what you asked for. Like,
Yeah.
you have been trying your whole life in this industry to get where you are. And like, you know,
You better
shut
love
up, son. Like,
it.
yeah,
You better love it.
you better love it now,
Yeah.
because like, this is what you want.
Yeah.
And so you look at yourself in the mirror and you tell yourself, like, be a man, this is you. And then, you know, you go do the next one. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a blast for sure.
You think you'll do it forever?
We'll see where it goes. I mean, as far as the stuff that I do, you know, that's I would love to do this grind for a little while longer, for sure. Absolutely. You know, there'll come times where, you know, I want to have a family at some point. You know, I'm a single guy at well, you know, as far as my marital status, I'm a single fella at the moment. So
Hell of a catch.
yeah, exactly. But you know, wanting to go forward and have a family of my own and all those things, those are things that are going to definitely I'm going to have to figure out, you know, cause right now you know, I'm a nomad. I travel all over the place. I'm anywhere at any point in time. And, you know, I can get a call, you know, within 24 hours and saying, hey, we're going to go, you know, to, you know, Kansas, we're going to go to Canada, we're going to go do this. And, you know, luckily if it fits my schedule, I can just drop it and do it. You know, once I get older, I'll probably have more of a role of picking and choosing the things that I really want to do that benefit me and my family and all those things down the road. But right now the grind's too fresh. I mean, I've been doing it for a little over 2 years solid now,
Yep.
but still it's something that I gravitate towards, and I really appreciate the opportunity to travel, see new things, meet new people, you know, eat good food, fellowship. I mean, that's the bottom line for me. It's like photos and video are super cool, but the growth that I've been given from where I am now to when I started mentally with the things that I do, all is because of a camera, but it all is because of experiences that I've been given. So being able to meet new people and grow I mean, I have a ton of friends and family members that really appreciate me. And I have a big reach now, much higher than I used to, for sure. But it's a great thing to be able to fellowship with other people, because that's what it's about. I mean, ultimately, like, I feel sorry for these guys that are in cubicles every single day. Like,
Yeah.
that ain't a way to live.
Yeah.
You know, and being able to travel really makes you just a better person, especially if you can spend that time outside of the United States and being able to see culture and see places and eat food that other people eat and just have conversations with people, you know, even if it's broken, you know, conversation because of language barrier. But being able to go and do those things is what I live for. I mean, I really appreciate that stuff. And Frankie really got me started on that when doing the Explore Project things, is he really opened my eyes to, you know, I was doing a little bit, I've traveled a little bit. You know, growing up, I went to Australia, I went to New Zealand, I've gone really cool places. Very fortunate to go those places, but you know, being able to travel and being able to have Frankie show me that, like, this is a lifestyle that you can have, that was a huge eye-opening experience. For me, we camped for 10 days, caught redfish for, you know, 10 days, lived off the land, never showered, you know, just had a great experience. And you know, that was something that really drew me to want to do more of this stuff and like try and figure out how I could do more of that.
Yeah.
When I first got it started. So, you know, that's what I live for, is experience and experiences of with other people. And, you know, I've, you know, shot animals, I've caught a bunch of fish in my day, and just being able to, you know, I don't even have to touch a rod, don't have to touch a gun, whatever, just having an experience with somebody, and whether it's their first opportunities or anything like that, that is what drives me to do what I do. And the thing that I love the most is being able to share something with somebody else.
Yep.
And their space. So
that's the thing with us. People ask, like, how's Whiskey Whitetails going? It's like, I just stare at them, because like, if You mean, how am I going? I'm doing really well because Whiskey and Whitetails has given me all these opportunities. And look at, we met you know, we're hanging out here right now. This is one of those things, but going and watching people kill a buck that they deserve to kill.
Right.
You know, just getting able to see people do stuff and meet people and get to have conversations that the average person wouldn't have.
For sure.
And it's, I absolutely love it.
I mean, there was one point just kind of, you know, this world is super small. It really is. And, you know, I was standing on the back of the boat in the Gulf of Mexico. I think it was like my Biloxi tournament. And everybody had gone to bed. You know, we had somebody up top watching, but like everybody had gone to bed, and I was just out there by myself on the back transom, just hanging out and just looking at the stars and trying and thinking about that moment for me and the amount of people that have never ever had that experience. And like, I get to do that a lot. Thank God. But, you know, having moments like that really makes you understand and appreciate how small the world is. But yet, you know, there's so many people that don't get experiences like that, and just taking it in. And like I said, I'm a huge census guy that really appreciates in the moment kind of things. Obviously, I think far ahead, far advanced, but like really coming back. And I feel like that's a problem that most people have in society is so driven to go forward. And when you can actually take the time to come back and sit in a moment and think about things in your life in a moment, such as in the middle of nowhere in the Gulf of Mexico, and the stars are absolutely incredible. You know, oil rigs are all lit up and, you know, doing their thing. Flames are shooting out of it. I mean, it's being in those moments in what I do really I'm just so blessed to be able to do those kind of things. And the same thing sitting in a deer stand. I mean, sitting in a deer stand, being able to reflect and have thought, be able to think about things as a man, a woman, and just think about life. And it's, you know, it's those moments in nature that really make me appreciate it, is because you don't, in every other facet of the world, it's like, we gotta get going. Like, we got no time to waste, but yet in those spaces, it really gives you time to sit back and appreciate those moments. So,
especially when you know you can't leave. Like, I know I'm here till dark,
right?
Or you know you're here till Wednesday,
unless he walks,
or whatever.
Unless he walks early.
Yeah, But it's just nice to just give up and just sit there and like, this is what it is. This is what it is right now, and there's nothing to distract me. I don't need to be on my phone. I don't need to talk to anybody. I don't got to call anybody. Everybody will understand if I ignore you right now because I'm in the woods.
Well, you can always send a text that says, "Hey, didn't have any cell phone service," which unfortunately nowadays, even 150 miles offshore, you got cell phone service now with Starlink. So they know where you are.
Yeah, I don't have that problem with Mint Mobile. Mintmobile.com/whiskey.
Yeah. So.
Well, Gus, I know you got to go. I think we might go find something to eat here.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say it. If you guys want to continue, I can just peacefully bow out and you guys can continue or whatever you want to do. But I got to get to a family. A little niece turns 3 today, so there's pizza and cake waiting for me.
Happy birthday to her!
Nice.
Yes,
pizza,
sir.
Pizza and cake sounds good.
Just the last thing I need.
Right. It was certainly a pleasure. If you want to keep going, we can roll a little bit, but whatever y'all want to do.
You could we could end it here, and you could do a Patreon only thing. Continue on for Patreon.
Could get drunk.
No, we won't. Use a discount code. Russell's Bourbon Country Whiskey.
Yeah.
Bourbon and whiskey.
Yeah, we'll keep going. We'll find something to talk about.
All right. Well, for those listening, are you gonna continue for the full podcast or do a?
I don't know. They'll find out.
All right.
We'll see what we talk about.
I'd be surprised.
Yeah. Either we're cutting it off here or you can still listen. We might do Patreon only.
We'll see. Well, if so, thanks for listening.
Hopefully that I was, you know, people want to hear more. So
yeah.
I'm sure they do. You know. People listen for a reason.
Yeah.
Correct. All right. Well, that's it for me then. You guys enjoy. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. It's
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
We'll have to find some time to hang out and maybe
do some more.
Maybe we do some hunting or fishing sometime.
Hell yeah.
We got to do another run to Burnt Church. So
absolutely.
Oh, hell yeah, for sure.
I was in a liquor store yesterday and I saw the liqueur, the cream.
Yeah. The bourbon cream.
Like, that stuff's so good.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Have fun.
All right, man. See you guys.
See ya. Yeah, the burnt church thing was interesting because we have a guy that does a lot of paint work for us. Like
Right.
it not like we don't commission him. He never charges us. He just likes painting, and he'll paint. He painted us as like had the Big Lebowski in it, and it was
Really?
like we really like your cocktail smokers, dude, and stuff like that.
Right.
And he's made us barrels on fire, but he just painted us 2 paintings of. I was like, it'd be cool if you were to paint because I'm gonna give it to which Chris listens, so he's probably, I think Peter does too. So surprise, I got you 2 paintings done by him of Anita's choice that I want to bring them down there. They're really cool paintings.
Cool.
So
Very
they're in
cool.
there. Shoot, Andy, you grab them? Oh, she's grabbing right now.
Yeah, that's a cool spot. He's got it going on.
It's a really cool place, and I like that it's close.
Oh, sick.
There's 2 of them there, I think.
I won't show the camera so they don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Isn't that crazy?
Those are cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Dude does amazing work.
Yeah.
And he's just like, you give him an idea and he'll just run. Because this is the one I told him to do. Yeah. And then he was like, I know you didn't ask for this, but I did that. I'm like, dude, that's dope.
Anyway. Yeah, that was cool stuff.
Yeah. They're going to like it.
Yeah.
They're going to like it.
That looks very October-esque. So
yeah,
you should try and get those 2.
100%. Are you in town?
Oh, I don't know. I got to go to Stewart next weekend. And then I've got a wedding in Columbia at the end of the month, but I do have I think there's one weekend that I'm going to try and get back in the deer woods pretty heavy. I've got a couple bucks that are on my place that they've been pretty regular once a year. And so I'm going to try and see if I can sneak in there and
that once a year.
Yeah. The once a year buck. We've had some, we have a really small track, but the deer quality that we have there is very incredible. So that, I shot that 10-point last week behind my grandfather's house, my parents' house now. But we have some studs.
Where's this at again? It's
in Hampton County.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I was born in Murray, Kentucky. I was raised in Richmond, Virginia.
I was going to tell you, you look like anyone I've ever met from Richmond.
Anyone that you ever met?
It's like her cousin lives in Richmond.
Right.
You guys look very similar.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I met a guy today at the boat ramp. Some younger kid is like 23 years old, and he's like, "Yeah, I just moved here and went to school, Sewanee." And so he was like, "I grew up in Richmond." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "I grew up in Richmond." It was just some random kid that we were talking to, had his gift there, and we started talking Richmond, and of course he's, I'm 35, he's 23. So that's, none of the same people, but, he went to St. Chris, which is a private school there. And I went to Mills Godwin, which is a public school, but we started talking like Russell Wilson, for the Broncos went to collegiate, and St. Chris are really big rivals as far as, private schools go. But I was making jokes. I don't know. You play golf?
No, I have golf clubs in the garage, but I don't like go and play. Yeah. Usually it's like charity tournaments.
Sure. Yeah. Whenever you get that call.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have time to play golf much anymore, but it's funny. I was making jokes to him. I was like, well, if you follow Zyre Golf or Breezy Golf or any of those golfs, there's a guy named Fat Perez that has taken the golf community by storm. And the guy's name is Nick Stubbe, and he was in my graduating class of
really?
2007 Mills Godwin. So I was like, we got Russell Wilson coming out of the 2007 class and Fat Perez, and I was like, we got two well-known people in Richmond. So
she's from Chesapeake.
Okay.
And so like I've been to Richmond many times.
Rockfish capital of the world right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
They all call them rockfish up there instead of stripes.
Yeah. You eat some rockfish?
I'll eat a little bit. They're not my fish that I go to the store and I'm like, that's what I want.
You buy fish in a store as much as you fish?
From time to time.
Yeah.
Typically when I make some sushi, I'll go buy some food, some fresh fish. But yeah.
Like a sushi roller?
I live in a camper, so I mean, there's so much freezer space that I have. I need to get a nice lay down freezer.
Well, I
So,
mean, it makes sense for you to live in a camper because you're never in it.
yeah, I'm never home.
Yeah.
So currently my house is in the shop right now. So
Oh, is it?
yeah. So it's been in the shop for about 3 weeks and getting some work done to it. So
Some upgrades?
yeah.
Or-
Well, just fixing some slides, being right there in
Yeah.
the marsh in Bluffton. I can only imagine the salt water's not great for those slides. So.
And usually slides come broken anyway.
Yeah.
From the factory.
Yeah. On purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I used to work for Coachman, and you'd bring some stuff. Like every time we would do like a pre-delivery inspection or PDI, there would always be something that you had to fix before you could sell it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like they would, I guess the salesman would come. I worked back in the parts area, but the salesman would be like, "Oh yeah, that's normal. We have a fixed kit for it in there, and it comes with this and that, and it usually happens in shipping, but the reality is they're just junk."
Yeah. No, they really are. I mean, in going into it, I kind of thought that just by I know what's really good quality and what's not, but it's my camper is it is what it is. It gives me a shelter to know I have a place to lay my head if I need it. So
we've thought about it, like if we move to Kentucky, getting some acreage and just putting like a house that needs to be remodeled.
Sure,
and
live in a camper.
Live in a camper,
yeah. I mean, it's not a bad way to live. I mean, there's with COVID, everybody was jumping to try and do something like that. So I was just very fortunate that my cousin had a piece of land that already had the amenities, and I was able to just go buy one and kind of set it up and put it out there. So, but I wake up to the sunrise of the marsh when I'm there in the mornings, and it's all I need. I mean, with the amount of opportunity I get, thankfully to travel, I'm a huge extrovert, but as an extrovert, I need my introvert at times too. So being able to call that home base and go hide out for a couple of days before next event or whatever, it's I love the fact that I'm there. So Bluffton's a good town too, as you know.
I like Bluffton.
It's a cool spot. So it's a lot. It's growing for sure, but it's nothing like Charleston. I mean, I didn't know how long it was going to take me to go 7 miles to get over here. It took me 45 minutes to get here for the most part, almost. So
it's unreal, isn't it? The traffic here is some kind of crazy.
It's crazy.
I don't know how it's. I mean, you're talking about that guy just moved here. That's me every day. Every day I meet somebody that just moved here.
I know,
and I'm like,
every day,
cool. Fucking welcome.
Thanks. yeah, sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I wanted to move here years ago, and I never did. But I'm glad I did. I mean, I would love living here if I had made that move when I was thinking about it. But I love being an hour and a half away.
Yeah,
and it's I could come in here and hang out with all my friends. And
I think when the market exploded, you would have probably sold and left if you lived here.
Probably so. Yeah, I probably would have.
A lot of people did, man. A lot of people left.
Yeah, I believe it.
Which is crazy that all these people that are moving here now, it's like you almost want to tell them like, hey man, you missed it.
Yeah.
You're like 2 years too late.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
They're not making documentaries about this place anymore.
It's
being
over.
The greatest place to live on
It
earth.
is over. It's ruined now. I mean, it truly is
It really
not
is.
what it used to be.
It takes forever to get anywhere.
Yes, it's terrible.
It's crazy. I mean, it might as well be little Atlanta.
Yeah.
With how long it takes you to go a couple miles.
Yep.
Atlanta's still Atlanta, but
what's funny is like the people don't even look the same anymore. Like if you drive down King Street, like I did it today. I drive down 6. Sometimes the traffic is bad, and I'll just cut through. Just like if I'm going to sit in traffic, I might as well look at
people
downtown.
Watch,
yeah. And I went down there today, and I'm looking around. I'm like, there isn't a single person from Charleston on the road right now. Not one.
Yeah. It's I don't know. There's a lot of people just moving out of their states, to come ruin our states for the most part. So,
well, it's like just a bunch of like,
yeah. It's we had a lady today. I don't know. I'm not saying like whether she's one way or the other, but we were kind of slow putting by this her docks on the backside of Kiowa, and she comes barreling out and is like yelling at us for going too fast by her dock, and she's like, "Look at the sign." And like she has a sign on her dock, but like there's no signs anywhere else. And she's like, "Obey the sign." And we're like, "Is that just posted?" Like, I mean, I know it's posted on your dock,
but is it
like,
a DNR sign?
Right.
Is this an actual no wake zone? I don't think it is.
But she was yelling at us, so
I bet she does that all day. Just runs out and
Absolutely.
yells at
Her and her
people.
husband were sitting outside. We found when we came back by, we were going real slow. So she was like, "Thank you," but he was sitting up there, and I think he was just like sending the watchdog down, yell at people as they drove by. I don't know.
What a way to live.
Crazy. So
To be like, you're that bored. It's like, what do you want to do today? Let's go sit on our dock and yell at
people. Yeah, but no, I mean, I love like visiting here. You know, I lived in Columbia for so long, and you know, I always wanted to kind of move out of Columbia. But Columbia is a cool place to be centrally located. As far as like you can be in the mountains in an hour and 45 minutes, you can be down here in an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours, and so it was a really good spot to be able to bounce back and forth. But you know, the fishing in Columbia is really great. I mean, obviously you have Lake Murray there, but the river systems that run through Columbia are fantastic. So that was what really kept me there as well, is just opportunity to get on good fish back in the day when I lived there. But
that's the hardest part about being here is like if you want to run up to Greenville, I mean, it's 4 hours.
Yeah,
it's a long drive
for sure.
Everything in South Carolina is at least 2 hours away from Charleston.
Yep, for sure.
Because people are like, "Oh, I'm in wherever. Where are you?" And I'm like, "Pick a city.
Yeah,
it's a minimum of 2 hours."
Right, for sure.
Because there's nothing north or south of us. I mean, the next north would, I don't know if Georgetown even counts, but that's an hour.
Yeah,
it's an hour and a half to Georgetown.
Yeah,
and then south.
And you be in Bluffton, Savannah. You'd be in Savannah in 2 hours from here. But yeah, I mean, that's why I love where I live now in Bluffton, is that, you know, Savannah, I live further south than the town of Bluffton. I live more near, you know, Palmetto Bluff. And that is just the easiest little scoot down to Savannah Airport. You know, I've got to jump, you know, obviously between the only two major airports is, well, there's Charleston, but you know, I still have to either go to Charlotte or I have to go to Savannah from Columbia or Savannah. But the fact that Savannah Airport's like 28 minutes from my house, you know, being able to.
Is that a major airport?
It's not a major airport, no. So that's why I'm saying you know, either you're flying Delta or you're flying American. And if you're flying American, you're going to Charlotte typically. And if you're flying, you know, Delta, you're going to
Atlanta.
Yeah. So
that's pretty much the way it is. Yeah, out of here.
Yeah, out of here too. So y'all are certainly a little bit bigger than Savannah for sure. But it's nice to be able to have that. And then, you know, even when I lived in Columbia, it was nice because the airport wasn't that far away either. But you know, you take some country back roads to get to the airport in Savannah. But you know, I spend a lot of time in Florida, so you know, I'm 5 hours from Stewart, and I spend a lot of time in Stewart sail fishing and doing all that. So you know, you can be down there in no time. So it is nice to be.
I do like Florida. We've been like rolling around ideas of where you know, if we're gonna leave, where we're going, but it's been like Florida, Kentucky, or like Mexico.
Yeah.
But it is two of those are, I guess, our beach desires, and one would be the mountains. But like, I think if we go to Kentucky, you know, like we're done. We're gonna live on a.
You'll stay there.
Yeah. Well, we'll just be hermit crabs. Like it's over. We're never gonna. Yeah, you'll never see me again.
Right.
It's just
Probably
like
not.
I'm gonna hunt. I'm gonna build like forts and log cabins and shit on my property and grow corn and have horses. You know,
make your own moonshine.
Yeah, make my own moonshine.
No, I think Kentucky would certainly. Like one of my good friends, Jeff Rosser, he used to live here in Charleston, and he moved to outside of Lexington.
Yeah, that's where we would be going, outside of Lexington.
Country, and it is. Yeah, he paints fences, and I mean, it is funny too. Like,
oh, you know who he is?
Yeah. So he paints fences and does all that, and his wife Jessica's into horses, and which is perfect for, you know, her and you know, they board horses and do all that kind of stuff. But you know, that area, you know, I was born in Kentucky, Murray, Kentucky, and lived there for 5 years, but you know, I've never really spent a ton of time in Kentucky. And Kentucky is an absolutely gorgeous state.
I love it.
Especially that horse country that is outside of Lexington.
The west of Lexington is like Jackson County is kind of where we're looking.
Unbelievable.
The Dana Boone National Forest, massive.
And then you've got all the bourbon that you want there.
And they got elk there too. There's elk.
They got elk there.
It's like
nice turkey population.
Yeah, great turkey population.
And whitetails.
My first turkey was killed in
Kentucky. Yeah. What part?
Right there in Jackson County.
Okay.
Yeah. On a guy's hayfield.
Yeah.
That turkey, man, it was picture perfect. I went with my buddy Rocco. It's Camp Hero. It's a veteran charity that we work with. But he, yeah, man, we got there late. Like the sun was already coming up. And as soon as we shut his truck door, it was like,
The old
and
door
he,
slam.
Yep.
I
and he
love
was
that.
like, let's go
Hurry
now.
up. Get
So
your
we,
stuff ready.
yep. We got down in there and he called like 3 or 4 times. His gobbler came over the top of a little knoll and looked at the decoy and fanned up and just walked straight
Came
in.
right on in.
It was, it was, we
Clockwork.
were done. It was like 15 minutes. We were done.
Yeah. That never happens.
I know.
Yeah.
It was
Until
awesome.
like that has happened for me like one time, and it was I went down and shot my Osceola in
Nice.
Okeechobee, and I love a show. I love a bird that's just hammering at. I mean, turkey hunting is one of my favorite things to do.
It's great.
And I just spitting and drumming and just, oh my gosh, it's just incredible.
Yeah. That's the other thing when you talk about people not knowing what the stars look like, not people that have never witnessed a turkey make
doing
those
their
noises.
Things. Yeah,
dude, that scares the shit out of you if you don't know they're there.
They don't appreciate turkey hunting because of the fact that they've never, maybe they have and that's their thing, but like if you like turkey hunting is so damn cool.
Yeah.
And having them spitting and drumming at 20 steps and just hammering
feel it in your bones.
Yeah,
it's nuts. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. So I love a good show. But yeah, I went and spent like $2,800 to go kill an Osceola, and my hunt was legitimately like 7 minutes.
Wow.
Like the bird we were sitting in this cow pasture, had run off all the cows in the area, and the bird was gobbling, just right in the palm hammocks. And we threw some socks out and went and sat in a ditch, and he pitches down and he's just kind of walking, never puffs up. He's just kind of just looking around. And the guy that I was with, I didn't need a guide, but he was like, well, I'm gonna come with you because you're by yourself. And I was like, okay, whatever.
Sure.
I'm not I did tip him a little bit, but I was like, I can do this all on my own. I don't need. And I put my GoPro on my gun. That was back when I was early and
back when you were super cool
doing my stuff. So you could just see him. He's like this big on the camera. But 7 minutes from the time I hit play and have my gun just kind of sitting on this ditch, pitches in, walks 15 steps, and the guy's like, kill him. And I was like, really? I want to kind of see him do something.
Yeah.
And he's like, kill him. So I was like, all right, I'll kill him. And I shot him and I killed him. I was like, man, really spent all that money for no show. Yeah. You're like, daggone it. This is when this happens. Like the easiest slam dunk. But
you bought a girl dinner.
Yeah,
and,
I
didn't even get to eat.
Yeah. Got my Osceola, got him mounted and all that. So, but yeah, 7 minutes. But yeah, you got to love it when it happens though, because because there's so many times where he fools you, and that's what gets you coming back for more. So.
That's one of the things about going to Mexico where we're going. They have oscillated there, and we're doing a lot of driving around. Just like going. I've got a guy that's going to take us places so that we don't get in trouble.
Yeah, that's probably smart.
Yeah, but he, I told him I was like, I just wanted to, like if there's farms or haciendas, which are like their ranches and stuff, like I want to see some turkey. And he's like, he's like, I've never looked for turkey. He's like, I don't know where turkey are. I was like, it's okay, we'll find it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But if I can figure out where they are, I want to go on a hunt. Like they don't have national forests, and so I mean they do, but I don't think you can hunt in there. I don't even know how you get a shotgun down there.
Yeah, they're pretty strict about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the majority of the Benelli Montefeltro is like the gun of Mexico, just because they're tried and true. We used to sell a ton of those, and guys would ship them for hunting, like shooting doves down there, shooting ducks. But yeah, we used to sell a ton of those to guys that were in that kind of work, to where they would buy tons of them to send down there,
just to keep them down there.
Yeah,
I know people that use them in Argentina for dove. I guess dove's really good in Argentina.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
those white wings. But the Bred A400 is same kind of gun. They love those down there as well. Good operating system, gas operated. So, but yeah, but It's cool. Well, how long are y'all in Mexico?
7 days.
7 days.
Yeah. Which we haven't done a 7-day vacation since our honeymoon. We went to Jamaica, and that's way too long to in Jamaica. If anyone's ever wondered, you don't need 7 days. It screwed me up, man. I haven't had red stripe since then.
In a minute.
I haven't had it since then. I refuse. I won't drink. If it's like red stripe or no alcohol, I'm drinking water.
Yeah.
And Appleton rum. By the end of it, man, it's like you can't even get drunk because it tastes so nasty.
Yeah. No, I've been to Jamaica for a day, and we did the whole Ocho Rios thing, and drank some red stripe and ate some jerk chicken. So I've been there and walked the waterfall and all that. Jamaica's cool.
It is.
I don't know.
We did horseback riding on the beach and like barebacked horseback riding. We went snorkeling. We went deep sea diving as well.
Yeah.
We had a ton of fun. We went to this private island. There was some kind of porn star out there, like topless, but the guy that took us there, he was like, "You can take your clothes off now." And we were like, "Okay,
yeah, we're good here.
Yeah, I'm okay."
Yeah.
He was. It was back when she had a BlackBerry, like when they first came out. It was like 09. But you could take pictures with him,
right?
And so the whole time we're snorkeling, I see him like scrolling through her phone, trying to find pictures of her.
Oh, really?
And I was like, "Yeah, I know what this dude's doing." Wow. I figured it out as soon as we got out there.
He probably had to get through Brick Break and Snake. I know that was huge on BlackBerry.
Dude, Snake was the game.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think I ever played Brick Break. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was a game. I never had a BlackBerry, but I dated a girl that did, and I was always playing Snake on her phone. So.
Yeah. Yeah, she has. I still play Candy Crush.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Matter of fact, what do you know how many levels there are?
No idea.
I don't either. But I know I'm over 2,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I've been playing Candy Crush since like 2014, maybe. Let me see. My daily treat machine.
Yeah.
I don't need to do it. But let's see.
Y'all don't have any children that would run up your Apple Pay bill. It's just you playing Candy Crush.
That's it. Yeah. 2,119. That's what level I'm on. Wow. But I've never paid for anything. I did all that with watching free ads.
There you go.
Yeah.
You've seen some ads then.
I've seen some ads, dude. Yeah, they're getting longer. They're like, some of them are like 25 seconds long. It's like, you got to watch 3 of them. And you're like, dude. Yeah. So I just set the phone down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Candy Crush.
It's a great way to spend life, you know?
Yeah. Never, I'll play a game or two every now and then when I'm on an airplane. I play like Roku or whatever, like the shape, like basically like Tetris, but it doesn't like fall. You just have to place them to try and get all your points and all that kind of stuff.
Something that is smarter.
Yeah, something that keeps your mind kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish I could. All these early morning fights that I ever have, I'm so jacked up on caffeine that I'm like, I can't nap. So
yeah, I can't sleep on a plane. It's funny because I used to could sleep anywhere, but no more.
I don't have a problem doing that, but normally it takes a lot for me to, especially when I'm going somewhere. Like I'm so jacked up to go do whatever I'm going to do on the way home. Yeah, I can typically snooze a little bit on the way home for sure. But you're so excited to get in and get doing what you're planning on doing to where I don't sleep on planes on the way there for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But are you hunting anytime soon? Deer hunting?
So I went Friday, man, and it's wild. You can plan for everything, right? You can plan for the weather. You can plan for malfunctions with your bow. I mean, you can plan for everything. So I knew like tonight was the night. I've been seeing these does and these like small bucks, 4 points, 6 points come out. But my freezer's empty, man. So it's like, I'm going to kill something tonight.
Yeah.
So I went out there Friday, planned for everything. I got there I left work early. I got there at like 2:00, which sunset is like 7:30-ish when it's dark.
Got plenty of time.
Sat in a tree about 45 minutes before sunset. I texted her and I was like, I haven't seen shit. I don't understand what's going on. So, last week we had talked on the podcast that there was that manhunt was out there where they were looking for that dude that he ended up shooting a cop and a cop's dog, killed the dog.
Is that what they had that service for?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was right there where I hunt.
Really?
Like right. I'm not saying near it. I'm saying
like right there.
That's right there. And so there's been cops and dogs and stuff, running through that property. And I could tell on the camera that it was screwing them up. But what I didn't know is on Thursday night they do JV football at St. John's,
Right.
and Friday night is varsity football. So about 45 minutes before dark, I hear, "Whoa, say can you?" And it sounds like I'm there.
Yeah.
It's so damn loud, you
Yeah.
know. And it's nothing
Just
came
nothing.
out, and
Yeah.
they've been screwed up ever since. I mean, like every
Really?
once in a while they'll come out, but it
Yeah.
really screwed that property up.
Really?
And
You can see that, especially if it's a property that's, I don't know, pretty quiet. I mean,
Yeah.
on our place, you know, my grandfather used to be out there like all the time. I mean, it's the main track is 160 acres.
Yeah.
But you know, he was all the time running through there. And, you know, they if they see a guy in a blue Dickies, jumpsuit,
Yeah.
you're good unless he's in his jumpsuit in a deer stand. But
Yeah.
they're so used to driving around that it's, it doesn't seem to bother them. But yes, I don't have, people singing the national anthem.
Yeah.
Right before shooting light.
Right.
Yeah, it's great. So
Yeah, it sucks. These deer, it's only 50 acres, but it's Chisholm Road. I mean, there's really nothing. It's a very quiet area. There's
Sure.
nothing going on over there. So
the marching band starting
Yeah.
up and singing. Yeah.
It's been a rough week for them. I think they're pretty stressed out.
Yeah, probably so.
But I'm thinking about, I got another place in Ridgeville that I hunt. I'm thinking about pulling the camera from there and putting it on the opposite end and seeing if they're a little further away, if maybe they're moving over there. I don't know. It's frustrating.
You just gotta start hunting Monday to Wednesday.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
So they'll change their patterns if that happens enough to them where they just don't like it. But normally a lot of that stuff doesn't bother them.
Right. And I think they'll get used to it.
Yeah.
But
it's just new.
I really think it was the shooting, because I know that they had helicopters and dogs and everything because they were trying to find him. They didn't know where he was. Yeah. And they finally located him, which we can all guess how they did that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I've had a fairly slow year up until I shot that one there. I mean, most of my bucks are all nocturnal right now. They're starting to move. But normally on my place, there's a lot of activity in the summer. There's smaller bucks on our place, but we have a really core group of does that love our place. So we don't shoot a lot of does on my place. We take a couple every year, but that's just trying to keeping the herd in check. But the fact that we've got a nice little cypress lowdown, there's a lot of bedding areas, just some thick timber. We find that it'll like 4 years ago now, we had a scrape line that 28 different bucks hit like in us right in a 2-week window of the rut. So it's kind of I don't want to say I call it the whorehouse, but I basically do. It's like we have a great population of does that it brings bucks from all over that little area, and they like to come through. My dad and I try and keep our food plots. We planted last week, and it's already coming up great, and the bucks are rolling through there right now. So we had 3 really nice bucks together still last week. So
they're still together.
They're still together.
Wow.
And they were pretty good bucks. I mean, probably 2 of them I wouldn't take, but they were right at the ear line.
I call them 11 pointers, but our spikes are all they're all still together.
Yeah.
But like the big bucks have split up. They don't like all the 8s and the 10s they come in by themselves and they're very aggressive, which is wild to see in September. I mean, it's October now, but
I feel like the rut keeps getting pushed back further and further. I mean,
I watched them chase a doe when I was or the time before. I watched it happen. Like 2 does came running. This buck just was like
chasing around.
And I'm like, dude, it's like September 10th. What are you doing?
He's starting to feel a little magic down there.
Yep.
He's feeling it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell he wasn't surely fully there, but he was in it.
My dad shot a hammer years ago now. It was just a most perfectly symmetrical 12-point off our place. And he was full stank, thick neck, and that was like the 2nd week of October. So that to me was like, yes, the big boys, they do get in it and get in it early. But I know our deer are going to starting the love train here soon. But there was one of the bucks, the lead buck that was walking out of this food plot was definitely a shooter. But we do have the biggest buck we have on camera right now is just this trashy 7-point. He's actually an 8, I guess, because he's got a little sticker, a little curly sticker that comes off his right base, and which is crazy because my friend Kenny had shot a 7-point with the same kind of characteristics off our place 2 years ago.
It's probably related.
So genetically, it's bigger than the one he shot, but he still shot a really cool buck that had that curl, big, like 2 on one side, big paddle, and then he had that little curl, and then his 3 on the other. So, but yeah, we've got one, and he's by himself, and I'm looking to shoot him because he's just trash, and I'd rather pull him out and name him a cull buck, if I could. Our family does 2 tags a year for each of for bucks for us. So, I kind of help set up that kind of standard of, we've all shot nice bucks off our place. Let's do better about not killing deer right on the ear line. Like let's try and really do our part, even though we only have 160 acres. At least we're doing our part to try and grow the population of something that we, really appreciate. So, that 7 is definitely he's probably a wall hanger too, but he's probably about 200 pounds. He's a stud. So I might go sneak in there this week before I head to Stewart and maybe punch my last tag. But
it'd be nice to be able to get it over with before.
Yeah, but I still have those bucks that I had on camera last year that I'm like, these guys are going to show up at some point. So I don't know. That's why I was joking about the cull, because we will shoot culls, but he's not really a cull, but I'm like, in essence, he kind of is.
I'm the cull master. Yeah. Like when they in Kentucky, you only get one. You can do 1 buck a year, and so they have deer that are just fucked. Like nobody wants them, and I don't care.
Yeah,
like I'll take them. Yeah. I'll take. You know exactly where they are. I'll go over there and get them tomorrow. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah,
I've never been a big chaser of wall mounts. I mean, this deer here, that deer got killed by a combine. And I shot it in the head with a pistol.
Really?
Because his back was all ripped open.
Oh gosh.
He's fucked up. He smelled like rotten flesh. I don't know how long he'd been sitting there. But I kept his rack because it's got like you can't really see it from this angle, but the front, this one here kind of looks like a Nike check. It's like a weird little swoop to it.
It does have a strong curl to it.
Yeah. And I was like, well, that's a cool buck.
Yeah.
And then the one in there on the wall, I bought off eBay. So
nice.
I don't even I've never really been into it. I've got 2 taxidermy ducks in here somewhere. Yeah. But I think that's
it. By the time I had gotten my buck loaded last week, I wasn't in like the right headspace because I had just gotten to the skinning shed like right before they closed. It's like right before 10. And I was just like, my buck's G2s were a little bit short. So I was like, well, I'm not going to mount them.
Yeah.
And then I was like, just cut the antlers off. And I was like, I should at least just Euro mount.
Yeah, you should Euro mount it for sure.
Why did I not do that? But
yeah.
Anyway.
Her dad keeps everything. He's got spikes. He's got, you name it. He's got spikes on the wall.
Sure.
Just Euro mounts, not. Yeah. Then he's got some really nice deer inside his house. But yeah, I think he's kept every buck he's ever killed probably. Yeah. I mean,
we've got a lot of bucks that I've kept most of mine, but I was really, the bad thing was when I was 13, I shot a velvet buck that was 220 pounds. I killed 2 8-points off the same stand in back-to-back nights, but we don't hunt on Sundays on my place, so it was Saturday night and then Monday night, and I killed my biggest buck I've ever killed off our place off the same stand. When I was 13 years old, and he was 18 inches inside, full velvet.
Yeah.
And, at 13 years old, I told my dad and my grandfather, I was like, Granddaddy, I was like, I know I ain't ever going to see a buck, kill a buck that big ever if you mount them for me. And it took me 22 years of passing deer up. I mean, I've shot some bucks for sure, bucks that have got me excited. And, I pulled the trigger on them. But normally I shoot does just because I truly, honestly think they taste better.
I agree with you. They're not full of testosterone.
Yeah. So, it had been 22 years since I killed a buck of a worthy specimen for me to really appreciate, which is crazy. I don't chase antlers. I certainly appreciate shooting something bigger. Like I want to shoot something bigger or of caliber. And I've passed so many deer up, and I've worked so hard for so many years, trying to keep that land, and all my cousins, my dad, my grandfather, they all shoot nice ones. And, here it was 22 years later. I finally shot one, which was pretty emotional for me when I pulled the trigger the other night, and I was just like, wow, got the monkey off my back. It's been a long time. So
It always is, man.
Yeah.
It's like that emotion thing doesn't. I think if that were to go away, I'd quit hunting.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't get that feeling.
Yeah.
And it's like people like people that really deer hunt, and they're like, well, what's Afghanistan like? And it's like that.
Yeah.
It's very, very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, a different scenario for sure,
Yeah.
but the feeling that dump you get is, I mean,
Yeah.
it's very similar.
Yeah. It was it was perfect opportunity. Had opportunity to shoot him. He came out, and I had a bunch of does and fawns running around. But the cool thing was after I had shot that buck, you know, I had to take care of it by myself. He was a pretty large specimen, but you know, my grandmother passed away at the end of July. We buried her on my birthday, August 2nd. And 6 years ago, or 5 years ago, 2017, I had killed a nice little 8-point. And my grandfather was somebody that I would always report to every time I go deer hunting. Like whether I saw something or I didn't, I'd come back every day and he'd be waiting for me at the dinner table. Granny would be cooking some food or whatever. And he's like, all right, what'd you see? Tell me about it. And I'd tell him about it. And, you know, that was a staple moment for our family to go report back to grandpa. And, you know, he passed away 3 years ago. Grandmother passed away just recently. And, you know, in that moment back in 2017, they weren't home. So I had to do kind of like I did the other night. I had to do everything by myself, and I had nobody to report to. And I wrote a long kind of story on my personal page about, you know, one day things will change, and one day, you know, things will be different and you won't have that anymore. And so that was a kind of a moment of seeing the future as not being able to share a story with him. Just nobody was just home that night that I had killed one. And then when I killed the 10 the other night, that was the first moment where Granny and Granddaddy weren't there. So that, you know, I thought about that a lot in that moment of when I shot that buck, to thinking about that will be this way one day, and the 10-point being that moment where I had sat there, and, you know, with him on the trailer, and I thought to myself, I was like, wow, we are finally here. Like this is it. So it was just kind of crazy to reflect on that emotion of hunting. And that's why I really appreciate hunting. I mean, somebody asked me the other day what I love to do more. I mean, I honestly, I love the fishing. I love the camaraderie of fishing, but the senses and the appreciation that goes into hunting, there's so much more, what's the word I'm looking for? Emotion to hunting that for us is so cool, because there's just so much more emotion to be captured than going fishing. I mean, fishing has its emotional parts too, but like emotions of nature.
I just don't know that people fish, and when you catch a fish, I've never seen anybody just like pet it and be like, thank you for your sacrifice here.
Because normally you just throw them back.
Yeah, you just throw, it's like whatever.
Animal, like,
when you catch a fish, like you usually don't even kill them. You throw them in the cooler, and they end up dying there. You don't even take part in it. Killing a big animal that looks like a dog, kind of.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotion.
There's a lot of emotion to it. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing that I just want to, you know, I've done a lot of hunting stuff. You know, I've filmed whitetail hunts and elk hunts and other things, but that's just something that I want to get more into is the emotion of, you know, I fished for so long, and, you know, I make up a lot of my work schedule through the summer, and then when the winter comes around or when the fall comes around, I'm kind of, you know, like tired, but in the same light, I want to be hunting. I want to be filming hunting. I want to be photographing hunting, just because the emotion of that is just so far greater. Yeah,
that's crazy, because you see there's a photo that I can't remember who I saw, whose account it was, but they had taken a doe, because it's really hard to. There's a lot of trained ways of thought on this. It's like there's some people that are totally against kill shots, because basically all you're doing is you're giving the vegans the ammo, because they're going to take all those kill shots and loop them together and be like, look how disgusting hunters are. And then they get, laws passed that mess us up.
Sure.
So I understand that. But also there's there's a very deep personal side to taking the life of an animal.
Sure.
And I'm not sure that should be glorified either. I don't know.
Right.
I don't
There's
care
a
what
fine line
anyone
for
does,
sure.
but like but for does, it's really hard to show a kill shot of a doe.
Of a doe, yeah.
And what happened? This was low light, and they used the nocturnal Nox, that green light, and then just set the camera up perfectly to just, and I'm sure a lot of it was done in post, but to really pull that green light out. But the hunter was standing behind the doe and just had his hand on it.
Yeah.
And it was like somber, respectful,
Right.
beautiful. The artwork, it was
Right.
smart, using the nocturnal Nox and all that.
Right.
And I would love to recreate that photo, but it's like, there's a lot of emotion in
Right,
that
there's a ton
picture,
of
because
emotion.
you're just your hands on it, and it's
Right.
like, that thing, we are thankful for it. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that ruin situations for everybody.
Yeah.
I think with social media being the way it is, it really ruins a lot of things and makes people feel like we're outlaws.
Yeah.
Majority of outdoorsmen are outlaws, but we are people that appreciate things way more than most people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so for people to, to get upset over things is crazy, because people in our industry and what we do, we genuinely care, and we genuinely appreciate how things get done. I mean, especially for me on my place. I mean, I made a loin for my parents the other night that I had taken off that buck that I shot, and being able to share something with somebody is huge over food.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, the respect of that animal is the blood, sweat, and tears that my grandfather put into all these years growing this soil into what it is, and then handing it to us.
Yep.
And just from he busted his ass all his life to just make this hunting piece, what it is. And now me and my father, we're the caretakers of it, and we run it. And just being able to sit there, and when you put your hand on that buck or that doe, the thought process that goes into that for me is like history.
Yeah.
And the soil and the blood and the money that my grandfather paid and my grandmother paid to have this beautiful piece of property.
Yeah.
And provide it for every one of us. And when I cook a loin off of a buck, and nobody's ever had it before, even in my family, like one of my cousin Josh, I made him and his wife and his kids some venison, because he owns the land with me. We're all split members in it, and like I made it for him, and he was like, wow, this is incredible. He's like, this is deer. I was like, yeah, the place that we own together, you can go kill some of these yourself and have your own food.
But, and you can take one and eat on it for months.
Yeah, especially me, like, a single guy. That's why I typically give a lot of it away. But just the thought process and the appreciation I have for that. I know that everybody else, your real hunter, your real nature, hunting, even fishing, like we all appreciate the same thing. But we all have our own reasons on why we appreciate things. And for me, eating something off of my family's land, my land, you couldn't pay me any amount of money to change that opportunity for me.
That's what, I don't know how people view hunters like the Bambi movie, and it's like, but if you think about it, like all the hunters I know, this is usually my litmus thing is like, would you abuse a dog? Right. So think about all the hunters, would any of them go out there and beat a dog like to the inches of its life and abuse a dog? No, because they love animals. And like us killing deer doesn't mean that we're, let's put on some red face paint and devil horns and go out here and mutilate animals. I mean, that's not, we try to make it as quickly as possible. But
there's always a small percentage that ruins it for everybody else in anything that you do.
And I think a lot of it is the people just trying to be funny.
Yeah.
And
want to
for
get
instance,
clicks, want to get likes.
Black Rifle, was it Black Rifle? Somebody put, I'm sure you saw it. They had a minigun and they were out there killing hogs. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
Bothers me.
Right.
I know that they're invasive. I'm not an idiot. I know they got to be killed. I know we got to kill them all.
Yeah.
But to run through there with a fully automatic machine gun and just winging some. I mean, you don't know that was good shot placement.
Yeah, I think I did see that video.
Just bothers me.
It was
I
at
don't
night,
like it.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
They were running. Yeah.
Yep. I just don't like
Yeah.
it because now you have animals that are 100% suffering. And I mean,
Yeah.
I get it. They're invasive. They got to
Yeah.
go. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Kill them all. Don't
Yeah.
care. But things like that, that gives us it makes us look really bad when
Sure.
people are out there doing that.
Yeah.
It's been sent to me so many times, like, how much fun does this look? And it's like, doesn't, man.
Yeah.
Like, respectfully,
For sure.
it doesn't look fun. And then they're like, well, it's an invasive species. I'm aware.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm cool with killing them.
Right.
Just not that way.
Yeah.
But
it's, I don't know. There's so many things. And that's one thing too, is like, we were getting pushed out so far into different ways in our public land situation and everything. It's like, we really got to band together.
Yeah.
Because, we're all we got.
They're louder than we are.
Absolutely.
And we're giving them ammo to be that
Absolutely.
loud.
Yeah.
That's the
thing.
That's the take home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all for clicks. So
Mhm.
there's a fine line for everything, but that is certainly a really big fine line there. So I don't know.
Are you hungry, man?
Let's go do it.
Let's go get something to eat.
Yeah.
I'm starving.
Yes, sir.
All right.
This lady's probably like, y'all two jibber jabbers. Let's roll.
She likes it.
Yeah.
She actually listens to all of our podcasts, and she'll give me notes on it.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah, it's nice to have home support. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. She probably listens better than you do. So
yeah. It's funny, man, because when we do these, we'll do this and we'll wrap it up. But we never really did them to see if people would listen. So like when you find out people do listen, it's always blows my mind.
Yeah.
Just blows my mind. Oh yeah, I was listening the other day, or I'll get feedback of like, hey, your entry music is way too loud, and you're like, shit, I forgot to normalize, I forgot to hit the control, I forgot to hit G and drop it to -1. Yeah. I didn't, but all right, well, let's do something.
Yeah, I haven't been on too many podcasts. I mean, one that I did was Rutten River Pursuits. I think those guys are out of like New Jersey or Pennsylvania, and that was so long ago. So I appreciate being on this one.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Anytime. I think we've been trying to make this happen for quite some time.
Yeah,
now,
it's been a minute for sure. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that I was in town, especially because you just texted me out of the blue. I mean, you hit me up at like 12 o'clock. I was
drinking.
And you were like, we got to do this. And I was like, actually, we could do it Monday, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What it was those paintings.
yeah.
The guy had given those to Gus, and I was like,
you're thinking about bluffing.
yeah. And I was thinking about, yep. And I was thinking, you came to mind immediately. And I was like, shit, I was wondering if he's even back yet. And then I saw you had posted something on Instagram earlier, and or in your story. And I was like, he must be back.
Yeah.
I was like, let me shoot him a message real quick. Yeah.
I'm back doing things. So
Oh,
I'm glad we finally got to get this done. So,
Same. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Thanks everybody for listening.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're going to get something to eat. So
Still.
yeah. All right. Have a good day.
See you later.